YouTube Nation, MvC3, aka Me TV, aka PSN is down. It's the end of the world. Man, are you serious? Take your ass out somewhere if you're having so much of a big problem online. Look, I don't understand how some of you guys, because I was reading the forums, it's like people are threatening to sell their PS3s. They start fighting. One guy said that he was actually thinking about contemplating on killing himself. Like, seriously, what the fuck? It's a game system. Go out and have fun. Go out and have fun. I don't care what the weather is. Go out and experience life. It's more than just games. You know what? I really have to ask some of these gamers who rely so heavily online, I have to ask you guys, what the hell would you have done back in the day when there was no online? What the hell would you have done? Seriously, you don't like to go out, so you wouldn't go to arcades. You want to play online, but what would you have done? What we've done? Seriously, it's down for what? PS Network or not work, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Look, it's down for 1-2 days. It's not a big deal. It's really not. I'm sure you can find something else to do or play offline games. And speaking of offline games real quick, I want to say thank you, Capcom, for showing us once again why DRM doesn't work. Because guess what? If I wanted to play Final Fight this week, I couldn't do it. I couldn't play it yesterday. You wanna know why? Because you still have the fucking DRM on there that tells me I have to be online to play it. See, Capcom, this is why it doesn't work. And where's that speedy fix? It's been a year now, Capcom. A year. Don't think I forgot about it, Capcom. I'm telling you. Stop. Anyways, today, guys, we got a lot to get into. We have a lot to get into. Let's just get into it. Tons of news this week. God, thank you. I'll thank you guys later for all the news you give me. Look, let's start with this. As the title stated when you probably clicked on it, Marvel vs. Capcom, Super Marvel vs. Capcom is rumored to be at E3. It says this is a rumor for now till more evidence shows up supporting it. Lupinko is the guy who leaked some of the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 roster before it was officially announced from Capcom. This is the guy who's saying there's a chance it will be on, at E3. It says he has been posting some hints at the new edition could be coming very soon. So guys, all you guys who spent all the money on $5 characters like this,
but if you do something stupid, that'll kiss off you.
Now it looks like it all went for nothing. Yeah, that's just a rumor though, so we'll see what happens at E3. Let's move on to the next thing. For those who don't know, Nintendo Wii 2. You guys have been asking me about this, alright? Because you guys asked if I was going to talk about it last week. I told you I didn't have time. We get into it this week. Nintendo Wii 2 is coming out in 2012. You know what? Fuck Nintendo. Fuck Nintendo. Because you know what? Nintendo went on not too long ago to say, or when they started the Wii, was like, we don't need HD. We don't need that big online co-op, this, that, and third, like these other companies are doing. Well, it looks like you're doing that now. Project Cafe, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's going to be an HD version of the Wii. That's all it's going to be, and it's going to have a new controller and all. It's bullshit. All right? They're just about bad as hypocrites as Sony and Nintendo when they said, well, we don't want the Wii technology because it's kiddie and it's that and the third. Yeah. All right? They're all hypocrites. And speaking of Sony and Nintendo, for those who don't know, Microsoft and Microsoft and Sony, all right, are planning new consoles in 2014. Since the Wii is releasing next year in 2012, they'll be coming out in 2014, it says. Both MS and Sony are telegraphing to each other that they are delaying to milk the current generation and feel previous creators better. One insider who's worked with the first-party companies like Sony and Microsoft told us. So they're targeting 2014 as a new release for their consoles. Guys, I'm done. I'm done. Seriously. The PS3 has not hit its max yet on its hardware. I'm done. They're all they're going to keep doing. They're not giving us what we want. I told you. Next generation is more than just, pretty graphics and processing and all this. I told you. It's about bringing people together. It's about giving us what we want feature-wise. All right? Take it to the next level. They haven't given us that. We talked about this last week. And yet they're ready to roll out another console. Now, last time I heard, there was supposed to be a PlayStation 3.5, which was pretty much a little small add-on that you could put and hook up into your PlayStation 3. All right? It was a little small hub or whatever. But, you know what? I guess that's out the window now since they're doing this. So the question asked now, because I know a lot of Wii guys are asking, since the Wii is coming out in 2012, is Zelda going to be pushed on the Wii 2? That's a good question. You may want to think about that, Wii owners. Just letting you know. Anyways, we're going to move on. Speaking of consoles, all right? DICE, all right, you know this. Guys who are making Battlefield 3 has come out and said consoles are holding back. Yes, they're holding back PC games. Now, whether you agree with that or not, that's your opinion, all right? But they're saying it's holding back PC games, and what they're going to do with Battlefield 3 is that they're going to, wait for it, I know PC gamers waiting for it, they're going to make it for PC first and then port it over to consoles. Yeah, so you guys can get ready for that. Also, before I even get started, because I want to say this, with all the stuff that's going on with consoles, they're milking us, DLC, online passes. You know what? We need to talk about online passes real quick, all right? Ed Boon, Mortal Kombat, has come out and defended the online pass. Yeah, come out and defend it. Now, I told you guys before, if NetherRealm Studios and all them, if they're having a problem with, with Warner Bros., everyone's saying, well, it's not them, it's Warner Brothers. They're putting all the online passes on everything. They're coming in. I said, what did I say? I said, if this happens, they need to come out and say, look, we advise them not to do it, whatever. No, they're for it. Ed Boon says it's necessary for games, period. That's what he said. When we sell a game, we need to be recuperated. It says recuperate the cost of development. These games cost many, many millions of dollars to produce. If somebody's reselling our game and cutting us out of sharing of the profits of the game to pay for our games, we need to do something to protect our investment. Let's get something fucking straight, Ed Boon, all right? I didn't see you complaining when you were king of the arcades, when there was strict competition with Mortal Kombat. It didn't cost that much to make then, right? I didn't see you complaining when you had Mortal Kombat on the Super Nintendo, on the Sega Genesis, all right? And they were being sold at EBs and stuff like that then, all right? I didn't see you complaining on the PS1 when you came out with Ultimate. I didn't see you complaining on the PS2 when you came up with Mortal Kombat. I didn't see you complaining actually on the PS3 when DC Universe vs. MK came out. All right, so I'm not understanding where all of a sudden this is coming from. And once again, you look like a hypocrite because the same people that you're getting on GameStop, all right, because they're hurting your business apparently, you give exclusive content to. It makes no sense. If you were really against it, you would cut GameStop out altogether, all right? But you're not. So let's get something straight. Don't act like you guys are hurting for money. I played Mortal Kombat, and I'm telling you guys now, it's a great game, but there's no way in hell it took millions and millions of dollars to make. I'm sorry, because all I see is pretty graphics, Unreal Engine. That's all I see. The fighting, like we all said, it's old school. Yeah, you can put combos here and there together, you know what I mean? Now, I told you guys before, you should see it already. People are complaining about the juggles, and didn't I say that? Didn't I say when I played my demo impressions, what did I say? That you can juggle so long and you can chain it for big, chunks of damage. And now we're seeing the Kung Lao one, 76% damage and this, that, and the third. And people are complaining. They're trying to say now that it's broke and that they need a patch for it because of the combo strings. You can't say I didn't say this, all right? I saw it coming before the game came out. But, there's more. He goes on to say, there are untold millions of dollars of the product development and research that's gone into the game and the infrastructure of the online system. Fighting fans, however, are not used to the online pass, and some have expressed concern that Mortal Kombat's online community could be restricted as a result of the inclusion. Now, let me say that it will, because it is a fighting game, okay? It is a fighting game. But it says not so according to Boon. The people who only rent games or people who only buy used games probably go through a lot more games in a shorter period of time. We feel in order for us to continue to make games, we need to get enough back to pay for it. That's the motivation here. Understand this, all right? Used games didn't hurt your product when you fucking tanked Mortal Kombat for a couple years now, all right? Nobody. All right, I'm not trying to hear that. When Midway closed down, that wasn't because, oh, you were having so many development problems and this, that, and third. No, it's because you were putting out bad games and wasn't nobody buying the shit because it was garbage. Come on, stop. Seriously, stop. And you're sitting here saying people who only rent games and people who buy used games probably go through a lot more games in a shorter period of time. It's a fucking fighting game. Fighting games are short period of time games. That's why they keep coming out with them. Every year, every couple of months. Marvel vs. Capcom, BlazBlue, Mortal Kombat, Darkstalkers back in the day. They always had a new version. Ask the tournament guys. Always. You always jump to the next thing. I'm not trying to hear that all of a sudden there's this longevity in fighting games, all right? I'm not trying to hear that. Matter of fact, if you really want to get serious about it, you have to look at the companies. Because the companies who say, hey, we've got a hot seller here, let's ride it. And let's keep putting out stuff and keep selling it. And you have to understand that kills the integrity and the shelf life of the original game. Street Fighter, was it Super Street Fighter 4, Super Ultimate, whatever the fuck you want to call it? Now that's out. What happened to the original Street Fighter? No one's buying that shit anymore. They killed their own shelf life. All right? If they would have waited and just came out with DLC here and there, it'd have been different. But now they're coming out with hard disks. People are going to run to the hard disk. You have to understand. So they're just going to throw away the other one. You have to understand this is what fighting games are all about. It's like microwave. It's like microwave gaming. That's what it is. You have to expect that when you're getting into fighting games. That's why the arcades were great for, because you just keep pumping in quarters and I have to worry about that responsibility. But understand this, because I'm telling you, for you to say that it's for a short period of time, and look, that's it. It's a wrap. You know this game. I'm going to promote it. This game is great. All right, it's a great game. But don't sit here and act like you're hurting for fucking money. You know it's going to sell. All right, you know it's going to sell. Anyways, speaking of online passes, we got DLC, we've got DRM, we've got online passes. Well, now we got a new threat, guys. Pro mode? What's this bullshit? Yes. Socom 4 limits pre-owned options. So apparently, pro players they'll get 2 exclusives. Apparently, if you buy it new, you get 2 exclusives: the M16 and the AK-47. As time goes by, secondhand owners will find themselves locked out of exclusive multiplayer maps, various co-op editions, dedicated pro leaderboards, and more, and severely stiffed by the sounds of it. But don't worry, because Zipper will be offering used buyers pro status for a one-time fee of $14.99. Yeah, so $15 now for pro mode instead of the $10 online pass, the $5 characters you gotta buy for DLC and fighting games, the DRM restrictions. Stop. This is. I would say it's madness, but I know what you guys would say about Sparta. So, but you can see where this is going. All right, this is a joke. But you know what? I am happy to see that pro mode. I will say this. I'm happy to see that all these little restrictions and pro modes and stuff like that go to suck-ass games like Socom. Because that game is mediocre as all hell. I played it. It's mediocre. I'm just saying. I'm not going to really voice my opinion on it that much because there's so many people that are already doing it. Just saying. But there's more news. Sega. Now, for those who've been asking me, you guys have been asking me for a while now. Sega, for those who don't know, Sega, there was a Streets of Rage version that came out, all right, a remake by some independent company. A couple guys got together and did a Streets of Rage remake, and Sega pulled a plug on them. Yeah, and it was for what I'm hearing, it was a great remake, but apparently it was hurting Sega's re-release status. Apparently, that's what they thought. Yeah, they thought that Sega, since they re-released it on the PSN and everything, that it would hurt them in the long run because this version was an update and it was free. Yeah. So Sega pulled the plug. You'd think Sega would have been smart enough. I'm just saying. You'd think they would have been smart enough to hire these guys or say, hey, you know, how much did it take? And, you know, they would have picked their brain just saying, oh, you just cut off completely. You'd think they'd have done that. But they didn't. That's a bad move on Sega. But Sega has done something good as of late. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Sonic Generations, check out what it looks like. It looks like it's going to be great. Check it out real quick. Now that does Sonic some justice. As far as I'm concerned, Sega listens to the fans because, for those who don't know, Sonic Remix, when it came out, fans weren't happy about it. They voiced their opinions. They pretty much trashed it, and Sega listened and backed us up. So let me tell you something, Sega. Even though I'm applauding you right now you have the green light for me on Sonic, all right? But you are still doing a bad thing with Streets of Rage. As a company, you should know by now. You just don't cut your competition off or whatever. What you do is you pick their brain. All right, and you see what they did, and you see how to keep moving. You keep learning. You always have to stay 10 steps ahead of the game, and that's the way to do it. You just don't cut people off. You don't do that, Sega. Learn from it. Learn from it. That's all I'm asking you to do is learn from it. We got to move on. In other news, I'm sure this is going to make a couple people happy. All right, now, we've been talking about this for a while. A lot of people say, hey, you heard about this God, this God of War 4 rumor and this, that, and third. I have some news for you guys. At E3, it says, Warner Brothers has hinted. That's right, Warner Brothers has hinted, including multiplayer and future Batman games. That's number one, okay? Now, I'm not saying that Arkham City will have it. I'm saying that future Batman games, all right? They're hinting to it. And Sony has begun hiring programmers for what could be a multiplayer God of War game. So that's probably what we're going to get, all right? Just to let you guys know, it may not be God of War 4, but you are, as they're saying, they're hiring programmers for a God of War game, for a multiplayer game. So you guys can get ready for that, all you God of War fans. We got to move on. White Knight Chronicles 2. Yes, White Knight Chronicles 2. It has been announced that it will be out in the summertime. All right, there is still no official release date yet, but it is in the summertime. And let me explain to you guys, like I said before, if you do not have White Knight Chronicles 1, don't worry. It will be packaged with White Knight Chronicles 2, so you have to play the first one before you play the second one. All right? In the second one, apparently now, your character will have his own story. He'll have his own Incorruptus. For those who don't know what an Incorruptus is, it's your own knight. It's a big robot, almost looks like a Power Ranger, I would say. I really hate to say that, or like Voltron, I should say. All right? But anyways, you get your own knight and your own storyline. You're not just a sidekick like you were in the first one. Okay? I'm just letting you guys know that now. So, all you guys who have beaten White Knight Chronicles 1, save your game. Keep your game saves, please. Because that game save will transfer over to White Knight Chronicles 2 if you've already beaten 1. Like I said, if you haven't, this is a great deal for guys to jump on White Knight Chronicles while I can. Remember this, guys. White Knight Chronicles series is a trilogy, all right? So you're getting 2 games for the price of 1, and then when it comes out again. Just letting you guys know that, all right? Now, with that being said, now mind you, the first one was only like 40, 50 bucks, all right? So you're getting 2 games for the price of 1. It'll be cool. Now, let's keep on the same thing about game saves real quick, all right? For those who don't know, Infamous 2, all you Infamous fans, save your Infamous 1 saves if you have it. Okay, I'm telling you this now because apparently, with the link, all links are in the info bar. By this article, you will be able to use your your Infamous 1 game saves. Now, I'm telling you now, I had both 2 game saves, one for good, one for evil. Okay. Now, with that being said, whatever game save that you load up, it will impact Infamous 2. All right, it will change your karma system. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. All right, they're suggesting it or whatever. They're telling us facts here at this point, guys. Really. All right. So, like I said, I will be playing Infamous 2 with 2 different files just to see exactly how everything plays out, just to really see the differences between the good side and the bad side. All right. First one was great. I platinumed the shit out. That was a great game. All right. Anyways, let's move on. Now, I told you guys last time, a couple weeks ago, that the Splinter Cell collection was coming out. With that being said, there's been a report that the original multiplayer features have been removed. Yeah, that's the bad news, guys. It's been removed, so, and I'm sure all you guys who have played Splinter Cell already, and you've burned through all the Splinter Cells, you know how fun the co-op mode was. Well, apparently, original multiplayer features are gone. Alright, with that being said, guys, let's move on. EA is planning a subscription service. Don't tell me that I haven't told you this before, DC Universe videos. I told you this would start happening with non-MMO games. Did I not say that? All right, let's move on. It says, today a survey started circulating around specific circles that details a possible subscription service plan being put in place by none other than Electronic Arts. As some of you may recall, EA came under fire last year when the company started charging a $10 fee, the online pass, to use gamers in order to access online features if the game was bought secondhand. It says the new subscription plan is speculated to hit both PS3 and Xbox 360, but a price is yet to be determined. One of the coolest features, I don't see what this is so cool about, it says within these subscription plans is the ability to fully download titles before they hit retail shelves. All right, it says this will be a huge deal for yearly EA Sports buyers of games like Madden, NFL, and FIFA. Now understand, this is only for sports. This is not for other games, no MMOs. I told you, EA has already said, I said in another video before, that they're going to start doing freemium-based stuff for that type of thing. But their sports, since it's their biggest sellers, because they're really getting hit right now, they're going to tack on a subscription service to it. Like I said, we don't know how much yet. It's a bad move if you ask me. Because seriously, you want to sit here and say, because they're saying that's a cool move, you know, for people who buy the game yearly. Understand that the game is, it's fucking roster updates. That's all, and a couple animations here and there. I don't give a shit about 3D textured grass. I just don't. Give us features. Give us, you know what? I'm going to make a video eventually. I told you guys this on the fan page. All right? I'm going to make a video about this. And not just Madden. I'm not just going to jump on EA. No. I'm going to help out all the sports developers. All those guys who says, well, we can't make a game because they have a license and they have the NFL license. I'm going to help all of those guys out in every sport, in every area, to show them how it can be done so they can make some fucking money. Because I'm tired of hearing them complain and not doing anything about it. See, that's the difference between this show and other users. They'll sit here and complain, and I will give you suggestions on how to fix your product. Now, whether you take it or not, it's up to you. But at least I'm giving you something instead of just crying and bitching about it. Anyways, I'm done with this. I don't need this. We come to the end of the show right now. We really are. But look, guys, I want to stress something real quick. First, I want to thank all the guys, all right, that sent me all the mail this week. Jesus, guys, you guys sent me a ton of shit. I know that I haven't gotten into it. I'm sure you guys are saying, you know, well, you didn't talk about such and such. We'll get into it next week. It's been a loaded show, guys. All right, it's been a loaded show. With that being said, I want to talk about this anonymous thing real quick, all right, on some serious shit. For those who don't know, there was a protest, and multiple reports are coming out that the protest was peaceful, okay? It was very peaceful. Don't have a problem with that. Other reports are saying that anonymous people were throwing stuff at them, like food and stuff at them. I'm also hearing that some people were going to protest, and there was no protest. They would go certain places, there was no protest. All right. Now, with that being said, places that there were protests, they were holding up signs saying free speech and free information, this, that, and third. And customers didn't understand what that was about because they were picketing out front of Sony. When they walked into the when they walked into the store to ask, to ask employees what happened, what's going on, they flipped it and said, yeah, we're saying free speech, meaning that you can use Skype and you can use this on your cell phone and all this. So they used everything that Anonymous was talking about and used it against him to garner sales. Yes. So they're saying that they actually helped their sales 10%. Now, I don't believe that. But if it's true, I just want to say, Sony, Anonymous, if you're listening up, Sony used you for selling more. All right, that's number one. They used you for selling more, and they had to lie to do it. That's what they had to do. They had to lie to customers to tell them about what was going on out there because they knew that customer would walk out the door. And I see a lot of people saying they don't give a shit about other OS, this, that, and third. Let me tell you something, guys. What if I said, if you don't like other OS or whatever, you don't care about that, that's fine. But just put yourself in, put yourself in a situation for a minute. What if it was something they did take away that did mean something to you? Anyways, I'll talk to y'all later. It's been a hell of a weekend. The new trailer's coming up. It's more like a interview, but I'm sure y'all understand. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good weekend. I got flyers to go to tonight, baby. Playoffs. Time to go. Talk to you then. I'm out.
Hey, this is Jane Douglas for GameSpot UK. We are here with James McDermott of Relic to talk about Warhammer 40k Space Marine. Thanks for joining us today, James.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Okay, for someone who's not familiar with the game, we don't have a lot about it on site at the moment. Give us a breakdown. Tell us what it's about.
Okay, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine is based on a very rich sci-fi fantasy which has been around for about 25 years, but it's never been fully realized in an up-close personal journey as a shooter experience before. And our game predominantly is all about playing Captain Titus of the Space Marines. You are the defender of humanity, and you're sent to a planet which has been invaded by an alien invasion, and you've basically got to purge the planet of that alien invasion.
I am a Space Marine.
What our game really boils down to is the combat experience. So we really focus on this idea of unleashing visible, violent death. That's a two-stage proposition for us. One, it's the way the Space Marines look. When you see the guys, they're like blue and gold. They do not go into battle lightly. They go in there to strike fear into the hearts of all of the alien enemies who want to kill us. And then the second part of it is the brutality that you're going to inflict on those different aliens. So we really empower the player to have this visceral, brutal, violent shooter experience where you're using both ranged and melee combat.
I do not fight for victory.
But it's definitely not just a shooter, right?
It's definitely not. We're definitely trying to carve our own mark. We have, been lovingly referred to as Gears of Warhammer, and we've taken that as a real compliment. But where we're trying to differentiate is a game like Gears of War or some of the other big shooters, they're all about a cover-based system where you duck and move, and whenever you get into melee, it's just more of a defensive move to get the guys away from you. Our game is more about charge into the heart of the battle, get 20 to 30 guys around you, and then make these very quick, seamless, fluid decisions between whether you're going to use the range shooting or if you're going to use the very visceral and very brutal melee combat system to take out the guys.
Okay, tell us about the melee. Is it combo based? How does it work?
It is a partly combo-based system. You can basically use different kind of strength moves, a light kind of melee attack and a heavy melee attack, and then you can combine that with Fury. Fury is a charged up meter which allows you to pull off more bigger and over the top moves. Things like the melee Fury is a big sweeping sword move which can clear a lot of guys out. That's a very powerful move. You also have execution moves as well. So if you stun a guy correctly, you can pick him up and cut him in two. It's pretty visceral, it's pretty violent stuff. So.
And in terms of the aesthetic, you said it's kind of industrial, sci-fi, gothic. It's not like much else that we've seen before, right?
No, it's definitely very unique. For one of the better terms, there's definitely a lot of that fantasy value there in terms of, people are obviously very familiar with things like Lord of the Rings, and it definitely has some of that, but it's in a very sci-fi, futuristic setting. Space Marines are very much like Crusaders, like the old school Crusaders that we all know from history. They have a lot of that tone. So it's kind of a mix of the very old historical archetypes like Spartans mixed with this very futuristic modern setting. So yeah, it's very epic, it's very grand in scale, it's very sci-fi gothic all the way through it. It has a lot of dark tones in there as well.
Okay, like you said earlier, Warhammer's got a lot of history, and in its own way, its Space Marine is sort of the archetypal Space Marine. How does it feel to be making a game about that Space Marine when obviously we have a lot of others nowadays?
It is very interesting because when you look at Marcus Phoenix and you look at some of the other heroes from Halo, they all kind of have a lot of the same tones in them and a lot of the same kind of emotional appeal. And I think all of that stems originally from Warhammer 40,000. Space Marines are the original archetypes, so it's actually really exciting to finally bring them to life, because for a long time everyone's imagined that fantasy in their bedrooms, in their own heads. No one's had this up close and personal third-person action-adventure experience. So it's really exciting to add that to that world and to the shooter category, that people can actually now play it.
Yeah. Is it difficult taking a game that, the tabletop games that are sort of a kind of God's eye view and making something that is so kind of up close and one-person based?
It's definitely a very different development experience and a different development process that we go through. We're traditionally an RTS studio. That's where we've got our pedigree from, and we've built the DAO series, Dawn of War, and we've also done Company of Heroes, which obviously is very, very successful RTS. So we've had to build a very different team with very different dynamics to build this type of product. We have a lot of people who've come from other big action blockbuster titles like the Gods of War, and we have guys who specialize in combat and console experiences. It's all about bringing that talent pool together so that we can really build a great experience, because we have a rich IP, a rich fantasy to work with. So it's really about bringing that to life with the right controls and combat experience.
Okay, I haven't had much of a hands-on yet. It's just been the bolter and the bolt pistol. I'm sure there's something much crazier in store. What kind of weapons can we look forward to?
Yeah, you got things like you'll also see today in the demo that you're playing plasma rifle, which is pretty interesting. Has some nice visceral effects. My favorite weapon is actually one of the melee weapons. It's Thunder Hammer. You can use that two-handed and just crash down on guys and just send them flying. You're also going to be able to use that with a jump pack, and the jump pack will allow you to kind of jet up into the air and come crashing down on guys. So there's a real range between the melee weapons. Like there's 5 or 6 different variants, and then we have about 10 different variants of range weapons. Other cool ones. Melter gun is like we call it like the afterburner of a jet engine. You can go up close to guys and it kind of works like a shotgun, and it just basically fries them, just obliterates them on the spot. So very, very cool.
Okay, have you got anything in the way of kind of upgrades or character kind of development talent trees, anything like that?
We don't really have that in the single player experience. Everything that happens with regards to weapons and discovery is found throughout the world, and you have to make very clear decisions about which weapons you want to keep in your inventory as you move through the game. More of the progression, leveling up, different class systems and things like that, that will come more into multiplayer. Can't really say a lot about that today, but we'll definitely have a lot of that content there and a lot of DLC support there as well. So. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine is on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 and PC, and it's coming in August 2011.